Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, let's explore together how to overcome adjustment disorder through science-based methods. If you find yourself struggling to adapt to significant life changes, feeling overwhelmed by stressors that others seem to handle with ease, or experiencing persistent emotional and behavioral difficulties following major life transitions, you're not alone. Many people experience adjustment disorder when facing job changes, relationship transitions, moving to new places, or other significant life events. And today we'll dive into what current research tells us about why this happens and, more importantly, how we can build genuine resilience and recovery. Recent research has revealed fascinating insights about adjustment disorder and the specific neurobiological mechanisms that underlie our stress response systems. A research institution's studies have demonstrated that adjustment disorder involves dysfunction in what scientists call the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, commonly known as the HPA axis, along with altered neural circuits responsible for stress regulation. The research shows that a blunted HPA axis response to acute stress is associated with psychiatric symptoms, with the prefrontal cortex and limbic areas serving as important regulators of our stress response systems. Current research suggests that neural habituation during acute stress and its associations with cortisol response, resilience, and depression have been clearly identified through advanced brain imaging techniques. A university research team's analysis found that decision-making under stress depends on complex interactions between several brain regions, including the orbitofrontal cortex, anterior cingulate cortex, dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, and amygdala. When these circuits become disrupted, individuals struggle to adapt to new situations effectively. The research indicates that the orbitofrontal cortex encodes the value of potentially rewarding outcomes through reciprocal projections with the amygdala, and when these circuits become dysregulated, people experience the characteristic symptoms of adjustment disorder. Brain imaging studies from multiple research institutions have found that excessive fear response caused by abnormal fear memory processing can lead to neuropsychiatric disorders, with neuroinflammatory impairment of neural circuits underlying many stress-related conditions. What's particularly encouraging is that research institutions have demonstrated that cognitive behavioral therapy produces measurable changes in neural connectivity and stress response patterns. A research team's meta-analysis found that both face-to-face CBT and what they call blended CBT interventions are effective treatments for adjustment disorder, with effect sizes ranging from small to medium for symptom reduction and functional improvement. Studies show that CBT literally rewires the brain's stress response circuits by teaching individuals to identify and challenge negative thought patterns, which corresponds to enhanced prefrontal cortex regulation of limbic system activity. Neuroplasticity research indicates that adaptive coping mechanisms, problem-solving skills, and stress management techniques actually strengthen neural pathways associated with resilience. A research institution study found that mindfulness training produces significant improvements in psychological symptoms and quality of life through measurable changes in brain networks involved in attention regulation and emotional processing. Now, let's look at some practical methods that research suggests might help address these underlying brain mechanisms. Remember, these are approaches that current studies indicate could be beneficial, though individual experiences may vary, and these methods work best as part of a comprehensive treatment approach. The first method is cognitive restructuring for stress response. Research suggests practicing what scientists call the thought record technique daily. This involves identifying triggers, automatic thoughts, emotions, and developing evidence-based alternative perspectives. Studies indicate you can begin with 10 to 15 minutes of structured thought examination when stress responses occur. The reason this method is effective is that research shows it activates prefrontal cortex regions responsible for executive control and emotional regulation, helping rewire maladaptive stress response patterns that contribute to adjustment difficulties. The second approach involves prefrontal cortex strengthening protocols. Current research suggests implementing daily problem-solving exercises using what's called the SOLVE method, which stands for define the situation, explore options, list pros and cons, vote on the best solution, and evaluate outcomes. A university study found that practicing this structured approach for 20 minutes daily with both current stressors and hypothetical scenarios enhances dorsolateral prefrontal cortex function. This method is effective because it strengthens the brain regions responsible for executive planning and decision-making under stress, improving your capacity to adapt to challenging situations. The third method focuses on HPA axis regulation techniques. Studies suggest using progressive muscle relaxation combined with deep breathing exercises for 15 to 20 minutes daily to normalize cortisol response patterns. Research demonstrates that practicing the 4-7-8 breathing pattern while systematically tensing and releasing muscle groups helps restore healthy HPA axis functioning. This approach is effective because it directly targets the stress hormone systems that become dysregulated in adjustment disorder, helping your body return to a more balanced state. The fourth approach involves neural pathway rebalancing strategies. Current research indicates that engaging in behavioral activation exercises by scheduling pleasant and meaningful activities daily, even during stressful periods, can be beneficial. This means creating a structured activity schedule that includes both goal-directed tasks and self-care activities. Studies show this approach strengthens reward processing circuits and improves mood regulation through enhanced dopaminergic pathway function. The reason this works is that it helps counteract the tendency to withdraw and become inactive during stressful transitions, maintaining healthy brain circuit functioning. The fifth method is stress inoculation training. Research suggests practicing graduated exposure to manageable stressors while implementing coping strategies learned through evidence-based techniques. A research institution found that starting with low-level stress situations and gradually progressing to more challenging scenarios builds stress resilience by strengthening neural circuits involved in threat assessment and coping response selection. This method is effective because it trains your brain to respond more adaptively to stress by providing controlled practice opportunities that build confidence and skills. Finally, research indicates that mindfulness-based stress circuit regulation might be helpful. This involves implementing daily mindfulness meditation focusing on present moment awareness during stressful transitions. Studies suggest practicing for 15 to 20 minutes using guided meditations that emphasize acceptance of change and uncertainty. Neuroscience research shows this strengthens attention regulation networks and reduces amygdala reactivity to stressors. This approach is effective because it helps retrain your brain's response to uncertainty and change, promoting more adaptive stress responses rather than the hypervigilance often seen in adjustment disorder. To summarize what we discussed today, let me share the key points with brief explanations. First, adjustment disorder involves specific brain circuit dysfunction, not personal weakness or character flaws. This means the difficulties you're experiencing have a neurobiological basis that can be addressed through targeted interventions. Second, CBT techniques literally rewire prefrontal cortex stress regulation pathways, giving you better tools to manage challenging situations. Third, HPA axis dysfunction can be normalized through targeted relaxation practices, helping restore your body's natural stress response balance. Fourth, problem-solving training enhances executive function and stress adaptation capacity, improving your ability to navigate complex life transitions. Fifth, behavioral activation strengthens reward circuits and improves mood stability by maintaining engagement in meaningful activities even during difficult times. Sixth, mindfulness practice reduces amygdala reactivity and builds stress resilience by training your attention and acceptance of change. Remember, these approaches are based on current research, and individual experiences may vary. The goal isn't to eliminate all stress from your life, but rather to develop more adaptive and flexible responses to life's inevitable changes and challenges. Research suggests that with consistent practice of these evidence-based techniques, many people can successfully overcome adjustment disorder and build lasting resilience. Your brain's stress response patterns developed as protective mechanisms, often during earlier life experiences, and they can be gently retrained with patience and the right approaches. The research shows that neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new connections and change existing patterns, means it's never too late to develop healthier stress response systems and more adaptive coping strategies. Adjustment disorder can feel overwhelming, but understanding that it involves specific, treatable neurobiological mechanisms can provide hope and direction for recovery. The key is approaching treatment with patience, consistency, and the support of qualified mental health professionals who can help you implement these evidence-based approaches in ways that work best for your specific situation. If today's discussion provided any support or hope, please hit the like button to help others who might be struggling with similar challenges find this content. If you'd like to continue learning about mental health and evidence-based approaches to well-being together, please consider subscribing to our channel. May your hearts feel a little lighter after today's conversation. Thank you for listening until the end today, and remember to be gentle with yourself as you explore these new approaches to building resilience and recovery.